This is clause 17 of the contract for sale and purchase, uncontrollable events, risk of loss. Lines 301 through 304 talk about extreme weather and other conditions out of the control of the parties. Force majeure, you may remember that term from your training, but it tells automatically closing may be extended up to 3 days after restoration of utilities or other services essential to closing. So you were meant to close, something happened, a storm, some extreme event that shut everything down for a few days. Once utilities are turned back on, you're automatically extended up to 3 days. Automatically. If the closing cannot happen within 14 days after the closing date for whatever reason, meaning power has been off for 15 days now, at that point, the buyer or seller can terminate the contract and the deposit will get released back to the buyer if that's what the contract says at that point. Okay, now section B of clause 17 talks about damage. So you're under contract and a tree falls and smashes the house, and the property's damaged in excess of 3% of the purchase price, meaning it's a $300,000 house and you've got $30,000 in damage, which would be 10%. Even if the buyer is willing to fix it, the buyer can has the option to void the contract and receive a refund of the deposit. If the property is damaged up to and including 3% of the purchase price, the seller has 15 days to make it right and then proceed to closing. Okay. If that 15-day period the seller has to fix goes past the closing date, you can extend for up to 15 days. Okay, so that's what clause 17 talks about. You really need to know this, especially during hurricane season. We do have storms that can send delays into closing. Also, it's hard to get insurance when there's a storm out in the Gulf, so that can also cause delays. But important section here in clause 17.